So this spot is, to the untrained eye, it might just look like a creek side, but I'll talk about a few things that are happening here, partly because I know because I was here when it happened, and partly because I know what to look for. So this spot was a crossing for dirt bikes at one point, and we want to keep wheels out of water, especially when there's a bridge right there. So we planted some willows. We got a bunch of volunteers together and harvested some willow stakes and planted some willows. So what you can see here is there's a few willow stakes that didn't make it. These would have been planted by us. Here's another one. But we also see some success. So there are some willows that took root and came out. And this section was bare ground. It was non-vegetated when we came to plant. So even though some of the vegetation that's growing here isn't native or doesn't necessarily have the same deep roots that we see in a healthy riparian area, it's still better than it was before. So even the dead stakes, some of them are still in the ground. They are still holding back some sediment, and that will build up and create some nutrients for the plants to grow. And so you start to see some of that. So someone might walk by here and never know that people actually put them in the ground. We harvest them really close by. We tend to have the best success rate if we harvest the willows in the same area. So we harvested them from around McLean Pond, which is 500 meters from here downstream. And another thing that the camera might pick up is there's some holes here and some dry dirt. So that's from cattle. It's called pugging. So when the cattle come, they're on the landscape, they need to water. So one way is you can do exclusion fencing. Another thing is to minimize the access to the water is to have a trough off stream. In this scenario, those aren't options. So we still have impacts from cattle. There are beneficial reasons to have cattle on the landscape. One of them is that they graze and they help with wildfire management, and the idea is that they're trying to replicate maintaining an ecosystem that we've had for time immemorial when we had bison on the landscapes. So a couple of the differences between cattle and bison, cattle they need more water, they need a lot of water, whereas bison, they can rely on less water to grow, and they can also scavenge. They can dig through snow and eat, whereas cattle can't. They need to be fed and supplemented. So that's a couple differences, but doesn't look like the trail's being used anymore. I don't see any tracks in the snow, and this fence is probably helping a lot.